But I'd like to call on J. Arthur Smith III, John, who's the attorney for the union, to tell us and tell y'all where we are and what he has been doing. And he's very cool, much cooler than me.
I don't know about that. I'm not a genius. And I would like to say hello to my friend, the Honorable Ray Swint, who I haven't seen in about 40 years, since she was a law clerk for me when she was in law school. I understand was a very fine district judge. At any rate, I wanted to tell everybody that I've been very honored to represent the union in this case and get to know the people involved and the importance of the hospital to you. I'd like to first thank Mr. James Ray, who is the president of Council 17 of the ASPE Union. Mr. Ray is dedicated to making the union a real force in Louisiana, fighting for employees. And to me, that's wonderful. He's taken a very aggressive position with respect to this Huey P. Long hospital closure, and we fought that very hard. And he's given a lot of credit, in my opinion, for this, because he and I both believe that unions should really work for the employees and for the workers, and should not just sit back and let things go by as they've been going by with a lot of unions. But I think this he's going to be very successful in his presidency of the ASPE Union. I wanted to tell you basically in as simple terms as I can what has occurred in court and what we foresee as occurring in the future. I want to say before I get into the details of that, is this war is not over. The war about Huey P. Long. And any time you have serious litigation, you have battles. And you've got several battles that have to be fought before the war is over with. We won the first battle. That was a very big battle because the judge held that the act that authorized the closure of Huey P. Long Hospital was unconstitutional. It was unconstitutional because the legislature or the Senate did a real sneaky job in advising the public of the meeting of the Senate Health and Welfare Committee. They didn't put out any public notice until 4 p.m. or after 4 p.m. on the day before the matter was going to be taken up. And of course, nobody with that short of notice had the opportunity to prepare, to come to Baton Rouge to testify, or the union people didn't even know about it. They couldn't even come and testify. So it was a sneaky deal. Well, the problem is our Louisiana Constitution doesn't authorize sneaky deals by public bodies. It has what we call the Open Meetings Law. And it basically says that all citizens have the right to participate in the deliberation of their public bodies. And the judge held that under the circumstances of their sneaky deal, the Senate Health and Welfare Committee, and therefore the Senate, violated the Louisiana Open Meetings Law. The court also held, in the second part of the battle, the first battle that we won, that the law that authorized the closure of Huey P. Long Hospital was unconstitutional. What they tried to do was to not pass it as a law, but pass it as a Senate concurrent resolution that doesn't provide all the safeguards of a law. The judge held that that was unconstitutional. The problem is, well, the real problem is for the general administration, is that the Louisiana Supreme Court had just held recently, in a case involving the Louisiana Federation of Teachers, that was illegal to do it that way. If you enact a measure in the legislature that is going to have the effect and force of law, you have to enact the law, as the Louisiana Constitution said. And so the judge held that that law is unconstitutional. So what we have now, after the first battle, so to speak, is we have the authorizing legislation, the legislation that enabled the closure of Huey P. Long Hospital is found to be illegal, invalid, unconstitutional, unlawful. Now, what the consequences of that's going to be, it's too early to tell, but there will be consequences. I really do believe there will be consequences of that, because that's just not the way government works, not supposed to work. And I think we have a situation also where the Center for Medicare Services is looking very carefully at Governor Jindal's various schemes to promote privatization and to close down public health hospitals. So we'll see how that plays out. The second battle, we lost the second battle. The judge held, the defendants were coming in and saying, well, since you're trying to close this hospital, even if we acted illegally, Judge, you need to require these plans to put up a huge bond, $11 million bond. And so obviously nobody could put up an $11 million bond, so the judge crafted a solution to that and held that he was not going to require a bond, but he was not going to stay the closure pending the appeal to the Louisiana Supreme Court. But he crafted his order so the case would go directly to the Louisiana Supreme Court. We sought an order from the Louisiana Supreme Court staying the closure, and that was denied. So we lost the second battle of this war. But the next battle of the war is one of the most important battles. That's going to be going to the Louisiana Supreme Court for them to decide whether the authorizing legislation is unconstitutional, illegal, and what have you. Now, wait and see. It's going to be an interesting court matter, and I'm sure it will be reported by the news. I feel very confident about that because I think Judge Downing was very correct, and there wasn't a whole lot said really about the defendants in opposition to that argument, except for the fact, well, you got almost an $11 million bond. They thought they had an easy way out on that. Well, the judge fixed that. But anyway, it's an interesting war. I appreciate all of you that are so supportive, particularly the employees in the hospital. We're trying to protect, the union is trying to protect their jobs, and that is one of the most important things that we're trying to do. And we filed pleadings in court to protect their jobs, and we think we're in good shape with those as well. So I appreciate your support. I appreciate you coming out tonight. If I can answer any questions privately or otherwise, I'll be happy to try to do so. I also see Mr. Robert Johnson in the back. I'll tell you this, Mr. Johnson, I went to see the debate in the House of Representatives while I was trying to figure out how we were going to challenge this legislation. And Mr. Johnson did an absolutely superb job of arguing against the closure of Huey P. Hospital. It's one of the finest jobs I've ever seen a legislator do, and I really appreciate the work that he's doing. So thank you again. I appreciate everything. It's been a joy to work with Chris Roy as well. Thank you all very much.
Thank you.